Our Democratic Party leadership simply doesn't get it, period. They're ineffective, out of touch, and completely disconnected from the people they're supposed to represent. No one made that clearer tonight than Chuck Schumer. What on earth was he thinking? Sure, he didn't personally vote yes on the continuing resolution, but allowing 8 Democratic senators to do so was a complete failure of leadership. They sold us out, and in doing so, they sold out every federal worker who has gone without pay throughout this entire shutdown. And what's the result? Those same workers are now facing skyrocketing healthcare premiums, doubling or even tripling in cost, all because Republicans outmaneuvered Schumer yet again. Somehow, even in his declining state, Donald Trump managed to come out on top in this fight. And that's unacceptable. But one Democrat isn't standing for it. They just made a bold move that could mark the beginning of the end for Chuck Schumer's time as Senate Democratic leader. We'll break it all down, but first, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps us keep doing this work. Now, before we get into why this could be the turning point for Schumer's leadership, let's start with what Bernie Sanders just posted about how Democrats should move forward after this disastrous vote.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. What it does, first of all, is it raises healthcare premiums for over 20 million Americans by doubling, and in some cases tripling or quadrupling. People can't afford that when we're already paying the highest prices in the world for health care. Number 2, it paves the way for 15 million people to be thrown off of Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Studies show that will mean that some 50,000 Americans will die every year unnecessarily. And all of that was done to give $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. As everybody knows, just on Tuesday, we had an election all over this country. And what the election showed is that the American people want us to stand up to Trumpism, to his war against working class people, to his authoritarianism. That is what the American people wanted, but tonight, that is not what happened. So we've got to go forward, do the best that we can to try to protect working class people, to make sure that the United States not only does not throw people off of health care, but ends the absurdity of being the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee health care to all people. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night.
Bernie is right. And who is that a surprise to? No one. He's actually in touch with what real people think and how the base is feeling, and how we're feeling is pissed. Because again, it's not just about us being thrown under the bus. It's that 50,000 people will unnecessarily die because of Donald Trump, Republicans, and the billionaires who they work for of treatable illnesses out of fear of medical bankruptcy, out of an inability for our government officials to break once with their corporate overlords and actually serve us. That has not happened. And all we saw tonight was weakness. And that's what we've seen too much of, capitulation to Donald Trump in all forms, not just from Democrats in Congress far too frequently, but big institutions, Wall Street banks, universities, media outlets, everybody is doing it. So maybe we ought to have some backbone. Gavin Newsom certainly did tonight. Before we get into the move that will be the end for Chuck Schumer, Newsom slams pathetic shutdown deal as surrender. California Governor Gavin Newsom has come out swinging against the Senate's tentative deal to end the government shutdown, deeming it a Democratic surrender. But Newsom and other prominent Democrats have spoken out against the deal, which does not provide the immediate extension of Obamacare subsidies that Democrats sought, but reportedly promises a December vote on the matter. Pathetic. This isn't a real deal. It's a surrender. Don't bend the knee. It is so important that Gavin Newsom is speaking up because he is setting a precedent for every single other elected Democratic leader across the country, and really any Democrat who seeks to lead our party in the future. Whether that be winning a primary in the coming midterms, trying to win the presidential primary in 2028. Democrats, if you are not on board with change, if you are not on board with having a backbone, if you are not on board with actually fighting this administration, stopping with the strongly worded letters in doing something, then you are not a part of this party anymore. And you should not get the opportunity to be in it in any elected office, certainly not lead it. And that is what we are hearing from so many Democrats. And it's not just about the regular old leadership. It is very specific. And it is about Chuck Schumer, who has once again disappointed us all tonight. And that is why we just saw a move that might have been unthinkable from ROCKED in this tweet right here. ROCKED wrote on Twitter, "Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for?" Brian Tyler Cohen jumped in as well, writing, "We're not going to fix the Democratic Party brand by doing TikToks or launching podcasts. The brand is a direct reflection of the strength of our elected officials. If we want to purge our weakening brand, we have to purge the weak Democrats. I'm looking forward to a robust primary cycle and ushering in a new era of Democrats who actually know how to fight." AOC, who might be a part of a primary very soon, wrote, "The average monthly SNAP benefit is $117 a person. The average ACA benefit is up to $550 a person a month. People want us to hold the line for a reason. This is a matter of appealing to a base. It's about people's lives. Working people want leaders whose words mean something. ROCKED, who isn't running for Senate, is taking an extraordinary step in calling for major change within Democratic leadership. When asked if he would support Chuck Schumer as Senate leader, he made it clear. It's time for Schumer to go. Kana is urging Democrats across the board, progressives, moderates, everyone, to unite and replace Schumer now. Schumer has failed to lead effectively, and his decisions are doing real damage not only to the country, but also to the Democratic Party's credibility. This isn't just about party image or political gamesmanship. If voters lose trust in Democrats because leadership keeps letting them down, then the party that's supposed to stand up for working people will lose its ability to fight back against the chaos Trump and his allies have created. That's what so many Democratic senators misunderstood tonight when they backed this continuing resolution. You can't patch over deep wounds with quick fixes. If Democrats keep caving, things will only get worse. Trump is at his weakest point yet, losing elections, embarrassing himself publicly, even being booed to his face. And instead of pressing that advantage, Schumer just handed him a win. It's baffling and it's infuriating. That's why more Democrats are starting to sound like ROCKED. He's been a strong voice for accountability throughout the Trump years, and now he's helping spark a movement that could end Schumer's leadership once and for all. If even rank-and-file House members are openly saying Schumer should step down, his days as Senate Democratic leader are numbered, maybe even before 2026. Whether he remains in the Senate at all is another question entirely. There's growing energy behind new leadership, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who many believe should run for president, or Pat Ryan, a strong New York Democrat who could be an improvement in the Senate. This shift represents something much bigger than one leadership fight. It's a grassroots bottom-up movement to redefine what the Democratic Party stands for. Real economic populism, Medicare for all, and independence from corporate lobbyists, whether they're from the fossil fuel industry, Wall Street, or special interest groups like AIPAC. The new Democratic Party will be led by people who fight for working families, not corporations. Leaders like Peggy Flanagan in Minnesota, Abdul El Sayed in Michigan, and Graham Plattner in Maine. These are candidates who reject establishment politics and want to build a movement rooted in justice and fairness. And tonight, Bernie Sanders made that vision clear. He didn't hold back one bit.
I know as part of this resolution that the majority leader is going to say, well, Democrats can put together their own bill and it'll come to the floor here in the Senate for a vote. As everybody here knows, that is a totally meaningless gesture. You can get 100 votes here in the Senate. Won't mean anything because the House is not going to take it up, and the President of the United States certainly will not sign it. So, Mr. President, I hope that anybody here who is thinking of voting for this reconsiders, goes back home and talks to their constituents and asks them what it will mean if their health care premiums are doubled or tripled. Thank you, Mr. President.
This is exactly how the Democratic Party needs to sound: genuine, passionate, and truly fighting for ordinary people. I'm grateful that Bernie continues to lead with that kind of authenticity, and I'm equally glad that this marks the beginning of the end for Chuck Schumer's leadership. It really is over, and we'll keep following every step of that story here on this show. If you'd like to support our work, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you made it all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments to show you're with us. And until next time, I will see you soon.